Hello, I'm Sam Diekevers. A little bit about myself. I went to Jenison High School. While I was here at Jenison High School, I played in 3 varsity sports. I was very involved in student council, peer educators, youth advisory committee, a lot of different leadership roles in high school, which allowed me to obtain a leadership scholarship to Central Michigan University. At Central Michigan University, I got my degree in education, and I am now able to teach. I have a DI endorsement, so I'm able to teach all the sciences. I also have a minor in leadership, which was a cool thing that I got through that Leadership Advancement Scholarship. Also worked with a cohort of like-minded students who had leadership roles in their own high schools while they were going through high school. After graduating from CMU, I got my first teaching job at Union High School. I taught there for 2.5 years and really had a lot of great experience and a lot of personal growth, and kind of shaped me into the teacher that I wanted to become and the teacher that I am today. And really learned a lot of stuff about capturing kids' hearts and building relationships with students in order to give them the best outcomes possible. I've been here at Jenison now for about 10 years as a science teacher. While I've been here, I've coached a variety of different things, including the head varsity track and field coach for the boys. I've coached football for multiple years, doing all sorts of different things, including being the head freshman football coach, a varsity assistant, and a JV assistant. While I've been teaching here, I have completed my master's in 2020, and I got that from Western Michigan University, so I went from Central to Western, kind of a little rivalry there, but I still root for both. So even though my heart is a Chippewa, I can still root for Western. But after Western, I actually just started working on my specialist degree through Arkansas State. So now I'm a Red Wolf, and I'm excited to continue my studies with that. I will be completing that in the spring of next year. A little bit about my personal life. I'm married. My wife is actually the lead PA at Corewell Health in the neurocritical care unit. And my children, I have 3 kids. They are 9, 7, and 3 years old. The oldest is a boy, and then I have 2 girls after that, Zeke, Evelyn, and Chloe. And the 2 older ones go to Rosewood Elementary, and my youngest is on her way to 4-year-old preschool next year at the ECC. The reason why I feel like I would be great for this role is I have the right temperament for this job. I'm able to stay calm and collected under pressure. I don't let my emotions get the best of me. I think some of that has come from being a coach in high-stress situations, understanding what needs to be done and what decisions need to be made. And also a little bit some of my experiences at Union that really taught me how diverse backgrounds can be and the challenges that so many kids can have that we might not even think about, and how we have to develop our empathy to make sure that we understand where they're coming from so that we can help them along the process of why we need to follow these policies and how we can move forward from the current situation that we might be in. I'm good at navigating conversations with students and parents to make sure that they're feeling heard, but they also understand why we have the regulations and rules and policies in place that we have to make sure that Jenison High School is a safe place. I have so many strong relationships with students in the high school already, and I know that I'll be able to easily build upon those as the Dean of Students. If somebody is upset with a decision that I made, I think the most important thing is communication right away. Just making sure that you're open and honest with them about why you made the decision that you made, and explain to them that these are the things that I saw. This is the evidence and the data that I had, and I based my decision off of. and this is the reason why that decision was made. If you don't agree with it, we can talk about that. We can chat about it. And I'm happy to hear you out. And maybe I was wrong. Maybe I did make the wrong decision. But if we talk about it and I kind of see things from your point of view, maybe we make some adjustments to the decision that was made. But I also just want to make sure that I'm absolutely clear with the reasons why the decision was made, because I think that's the biggest piece of it. I'm confident in my decision-making skills. Like I said before, I've developed those as a teacher and as a coach. As a teacher, we make thousands of decisions every single day, little tiny decisions. And as the dean of students, I know I would be doing the same thing. So yeah, I think just communication and then documentation as well of events to make sure that we can always go back and say, hey, here's what actually happened. Here is the evidence and data that we use to make this decision. Fostering a positive school culture is incredibly important, and it's probably the number one reason why I want this job. I want Jenison High School to be a great place for all staff and students. And a couple ways that I plan on doing that are to expand the positive behavior interventions and supports that we have, the PBIS strategies, having clear expectations and communicating those expectations and rewarding positive behavior, as well as having restorative practices rather than purely punitive discipline. A couple ideas and some things that I've kind of seen as a teacher. One is cell phone usage. It's definitely been a problem, but this year it's been much better. I see the cell phone caddies being used much more frequently, but we still need to have a lot more consistency with that. And I think a lot of that comes from the teachers. And I think one way that we can do is actually kind of use PBIS on teachers a little bit and say, hey, we're going to walk in here and make sure everybody's got their cell phone caddied. And we can reward teachers, we can reward students to make sure that they've got those on there and ready to go. I also think that we could maybe develop and brainstorm some other potential strategies for cell phones that I'd be happy to talk about to see if there's something else we can do other than the caddies to kind of get those cell phones out of the classroom entirely, but that's for a different conversation. I think that parking has been a little bit of a problem with student parking and parking in the JCA parking lot. I would love to develop a ticketing system to make sure that students are not parking where they are not supposed to be. And it'll also help with our security of our school in general. And then I think that in the lunchrooms, they have gotten a little bit crazy. I know that there's a lot of specific students that usually tend to be the ones that are always kind of throwing food around or leaving their trays and leaving their trash. So one of the things that I would like to try to bring back is something that we called white tables way back in the day. And it was basically that if you were caught doing something you weren't supposed to be doing in the lunchroom, like throwing a piece of food or just kind of in general misbehaving, you would have to end up sitting at the white tables, and you would have a person like myself, the dean of students, would be kind of sitting there eating lunch with you. It would have to be quiet. And at the end of the lunch, you guys would be the ones who would clean up after everybody else who left their messes. Some other things that I thought about doing is making sure that nobody leaves the lunchroom until everything is cleaned up. That might be a little bit of a harder logistic issue, but I think that we can do much better in that regard. And I think that sometimes our cafeteria workers feel a little disrespected when they see a lot of the stuff that kind of goes on during the lunch. So that would be one thing that I would kind of focus on, is kind of increasing the positive atmosphere during lunch. I think making sure that students are comfortable to come see you with issues or problems all starts with building relationships. It's just that capturing kids' hearts, making sure that you're talking to them, giving them fist bumps, and just really listening to them whenever they are willing to have a conversation with you. If you look back through my evaluations as a teacher the last few years, there's a common theme, and it says that Mr. Diekevers is great at building relationships. It's evident just from being in his class from an hour. The little jokes and the tidbits and the smiles and the laughs that we have in a physics classroom, I think that's one of my strengths, is building those relationships, and I think that will go a long way for me as the Dean of Students. I also think that you need to build trust with students, that they know that you're a fair person and you have empathy for them, and you're not out to get them. Your job is to just make the school a safe place, and I'm not somebody who's just trying to get kids in trouble all the time, and that's like my joy. My joy definitely does not come from getting students in trouble, but my joy comes from trying to create a safe environment for all students in the high school. Balancing enforcing policies while being empathetic to students is at the heart of what it is to be the Dean of Students. Obviously, policies create a safe, respectful, and appropriate learning environment for all of our students in the high school. But sometimes those policies will be broken, and it's human nature. And those rules will be tested by the students. And it's important that I just, as I've talked about often, clearly communicate to them the reason for the policies, and also listen to them and the reason for their reasons why this might have happened. I think empathy is key, right? We need to make sure that we understand where the student is coming from, and we need to make them feel validated, even if we make sure that they know what they did was wrong, which is obviously what we want to do. They need to understand that we are doing the things that we do to help them and to help our school. And it's not that we're here trying to do the things that we're doing because we want to get them into trouble. We don't want to be seen as that person, just the person who's doling out punishments, but the person who's trying to help them become a better person themselves. I think the biggest challenge for me to transition to the Dean of Students would be just stepping out of the classroom. I love teaching science. I love my classroom. I love the relationships that I get to build with my students. And I know that I'll still be able to do that as the Dean of Students. And I know that my experiences in the classroom and coaching will really help me as I transition to this position if I'm selected. And I'm excited for the challenge. I feel like I'm ready for this challenge. I'm ready for something new, and I'm ready to kind of take that leadership role at Jenison High School. Finally, I wanted to conclude by saying that I believe that I would be a great Dean of Students because I want to work hard to make Jenison High School the best possible place that it can be. Just want to reiterate that I have my own children coming up and will be in the high school before I know it, and I want this place to be an absolute great experience for them, the same way that it was for me and my wife, who actually also attended Jenison High School. And I'm just so grateful for this opportunity, and I'm ready for it.